is Gabor, and I am a user interface designer. On my channel, I like to teach how to design interfaces. So if you want to learn how to design websites or mobile applications, please subscribe to the channel. In today's video, we are going to design a smart home app with three of these screens. So let's dive in. As usual, I included all the assets in the file. You can download the file from the description, from the video description, and you can find the colors. We are using a free Google font, and you can find the pictures here as well. I already predefined the color styles, so we have that global, so it will speed up the workflow a bit. And I created these very basic wireframes that will help us to see what we are going to design and where to put some panels and informations. So let's just create an artboard that is going to be a phone and iPhone 14. For the background, I'm going to use this dark color that I already predefined. And on the top section, obviously we need a status bar that is not on the wireframe, but it's included in the file. So I'm just going to copy that quickly here. Place it on the top. And what I want to display here, because this is the home screen of the application, I want to greet the user. So it's going to be a greeting like good morning or good night, and the name and a profile picture. Here we are going to put a settings icon. In this widget, I want to display the current weather, outside weather. Under that, we are going to have these little tabs, the living room, kitchen, all the rooms that you can manage, or you can see what kind of devices are there. And on the bottom of the frame, we will have the devices that we can turn on and off with little pictures, device names, and some additional data. So first of all, let's put the profile picture here. That is going to be this one. And I want to create a rectangle because I want to mask this. Let's say this is going to be 56. And I'm just dragging the picture on the top of the rectangle. I'm going to select both and I'm going to mask it. The picture is obviously very big, so we need to adjust it. And for the edges, I'm going to use some border radius, let's say 8 for now. And I'm going to place it 24 pixels from the left. And as we can see on the wireframe, there's going to be a greeting, which is, for example, good morning. And the font that we are using is Space Grotesque. And the greeting is, the size of this font is 16, the line height is 24, and regular is enough, I think. And the color is our light gray. Okay, now I'm going to duplicate it. and put just a simple name here, and the size of this is 24, and the color is white, and let's see, semi-bold. I think it works. I'm going to select both and check how far it is. I'm going to place it 12 pixels from the picture. And we need the settings icon here that you can find in the file. So I'm just going to copy this, select our frame and paste it here. And I want to add a little background to it. So I'm going to create an ellipse. It is going to be 40 pixels white, and the opacity is maybe 20 or 10%. Okay, I'm going to select both of them and align to the middle vertically and horizontally. I'm going to group it and rename and place it 24 pixels from the left, from the right. Okay, the next is the current weather of this location. So I am creating a rectangle first. The color of this is going to be this dark light or dark second. I'm gonna place it 24 pixels from the greeting. And here, as you can see on the wireframe, I want to place some icons of the current situation. A cloud with sun or rain. In this case, I think I will go with a sunny day. And I'm just creating a rectangle because I want to use almost the half of it, maybe less than a half. And I'm going to draw a cloud with some ellipse. So I'm going to create an ellipse. If you hold down Shift, it's reserved proportion. So that's good. I'm going to duplicate it, make a bigger one. Maybe this one is too big. Duplicate it again and make a smaller one. And I want to unite these shapes, but first of all we need another rectangle here. Because if we are going to unite, it's going to exclude these parts of the cloud, but I want that to be filled as well. So maybe like this. It's okay. I'm going to select all the shape layers and going to hit union selection. So now we have this cloud icon. I want to add some effect to it, which is, first of all, the color is white, but I'm going to detach it and see if it works with 10%. I want to place the sun behind it. So I'm going to create another ellipse and just put it behind. And I want to make this yellow as the sun. Okay, this looks good. And for the cloud layer, I will add the effect, which is a background blur. And let's see if it's 24, it works. That looks good to me. And I also want to add some other effects like inner shadows. So let's do that quickly. Another drop shadow, inner shadow, and it's going to be white. The blur can be 3. And the epsilon axis can be 3 as well, or 4. Maybe we will change it. We are going to add another one. And the blur on this is just 1 and 1, and the color is white, but the opacity of the color maybe 50 or 60. Okay, 50 actually looks 50-60 actually looks great to me. Okay, just going to group it. And let's say that the current temperature is 33 Celsius. I'm just going to copy this because I have no idea how to create this little circle. If you guys know, please let me know in the comments. And the font is Space Grotesque. And the size is 32. And underneath, I will put the location, that is Lisbon, Portugal. And the font size is much smaller, actually 18. Line height can be 24. And the color is all light gray and regular. And let's say we place it like 4 pixels from the current temperature. And I want to display other data like the wind, the UV, and the participation, the chance of rain. So I'm just going to grab these icons and put them here. Let's say underneath it's like 21 kilometers per hour. But this font size is too big. I'm going to reduce it to 16 pixels. And the color is our light gray. Let's say it's 4 pixels from the icon. And this one is indicating the UV, which is like 2. And the precipitation, the chance of rain is like 80%. Okay, let's group these. This is wind, UV, and rain. And place them 16 pixels from each other. I'm just dragging down this a bit. And selecting everything, and the padding is 24 from the top, 24 from the left, and 24 from the bottom. If you want to edit these shapes, you can just select them and hit enter, and then it's editable shapes. You can drag the corners. So now it's 17, but I want 24. Okay, so we have the weather widget as well. Now we can move on to the locations, the rooms. First one is living room, and I'm going to group this with Command G or Control G and make it auto layout, and the padding from the left and right is 8 and the top and bottom is 4. And the background is this dark. We are going to run the corners, which is going to be 8, and the stroke is our light gray, which is a bit too much, so I'm going to detach this and lower the opacity on that color to 40 or 30. And I'm going to increase the padding because it's too small for me. And the color of the font is gray and 16 pixels the size. Okay, let's place it 24 pixels from the top and 24 from the left. Just going to duplicate it by holding down Alt and dragging it. And gonna rename this to bedroom. And another one, which is going to be, let's say, kitchen. It's still a bit too low for me, so I'm going to increase the left and right padding to 16 and the top and bottom to 8. Okay, this looks much better, and the spacing between them is 16. 16 pixels, or no, 16 is okay. So now we can start creating the device widgets, but first of all we need title here, devices. the font is space grotesque and semi-bold. Again, 24 pixels from the top and 24 from the left. And now we can begin create the widgets. First of all, I'm going to create a rectangle that is going to be 163 by 163. Going to run the corners to 12 or 16, maybe I'm going to change that. And the background is our second darkest color. And we need the device name. Let's say we have a Google Nest. The size of this font is 16. The line height is 24. And I'm going to add some additional data here, like the battery, or the percentage, or the location. Say this Google Nest is in the bedroom, and the font size is 10, and the color is all light gray. The line height can be 16. Let's say the battery is 56%. And what I need here is a device picture and a switcher. Let's create a switcher first. Let's begin as usual with a rectangle. The width is 48, that's good. And the height is 20. Let's say 24. I'm going to run these corners with a pretty big one, that is 32. And I'm just drawing an ellipse inside this. Just make it dark so we see what we are doing. And the padding here is going to be 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top, and 2 on the left. So now we have our switcher. It's pretty good. And let's say this is an off state. So the background is this darkest color. And this one is this lighter. I'm going to group select these two shapes and I'm going to create a component. Let's rename it switcher. And I want to create a variant because we have an on and off state. So in the second one, I'm simply just going to drag it here to the right, make sure the padding is 2 pixels, and the background is our pink color. And for the property, we can say on, off. And if we set the variant name to false and this one true. Switcher. Then it's going to work like this. So basically here in the panel you can just turn it on and off, which is super cool. So let's copy this. And paste it inside here. And I'm going to rotate it by 90 degrees. And the pending in these boxes is not 18, it's 16. So let's make sure we set it properly. This can be 16 as well, and from the top it's 20. But the problem with this, it's not too visible, but we are going to change the background on this. So it's good for now. And what we need is the device picture, which is a Google Nest. So I'm just going to add it here. And I'm going to mask it. So select the background, duplicate the background rectangle, select the Google Nest, and select this rectangle, and we are just masking it. Okay. But I want to add some more interesting or dynamic, more interesting background. So I'm going to create two shapes, two ellipses, quite big ones. And the first one is going to be this pink. And we are adding an effect, which is a layer blur, and set it to 120, maybe even more. And I'm just going to send this to the back and lower the opacity to 40. I'm going to duplicate this, make it a bit smaller, less blur, and set the color to this cyan. I'm just playing with the opacity here and trying to figure it out when it's going to be good. And now we can modify this background to our darkest color. And the switcher is still not visible. So for this one, I'm going to use a different color. You can check it on the design and see when it's good. Okay, that looks okay to me. Now we have this little widget. I'm just going to select everything and group all of them together by hitting Command G. Device widget. And just simply duplicate it and make sure it's 24 pixels from the right, and the spacing between them is 16 pixels. Okay, so now we can change this. For example, we have a HomePod, and bedroom, and this is, let's say the battery is 33%, and set this to on, and change the picture. Delete the last one. And I also want to indicate it somehow with a background effect that this is on, so it's not that just a switcher. So what I'm going to do is select the background layer and just create an ellipse. Actually going to put it in this mask group, put it behind, and set the color to this pink, and I'm going to add this layer blur effect and just place it behind it. Maybe make it a bit bigger, and the color is not the pink, it's the cyan. Okay, this looks good. We need 2 more, so I'm going to duplicate it again. Again, 24 from the left and 16 from the top widget. And this one may be an AirPods Pro. And this is in the living room. And 89% the battery. I'm just going to change to this one. Delete the HomePod, we don't need that. And the background blur, I'm going to change it to pink. Maybe that's a bit too much, so I'm going to lower the opacity to 70%. Okay, we need one more.
I found a few places near you. The first one is one more at Rua 1 de Dezembro 7, Lisboa. The second one is one more travel. The third one is one more personal training at Rua Moinhos da Lagoa 360.
Hey Google, stop. Nobody asked you. Okay, this sometimes.
Well, I'm sorry to have bothered you. Sorry.
Sorry guys, this sometimes happens. Just my Google Nest is responding to me randomly. So let's say that we have a robot vacuum, Bob Sweep, and it's currently in the living room, and the battery is 45%, and it's currently off. We need to change the picture. So just place it here and delete the nest. We don't need that one. And here we go. We have the home page already, that we see the outside temperature. We can select the rooms, which devices want to see in which rooms, and we have some active ones and we have some disabled ones or not active ones. So for the next screen I want to create a device subpage, and in this case I'm going to create a HomePod one. And for that as well, I created a little very basic wireframe that we can use. So we will have the device name, which is in this case the HomePod Mini actually, the device type, which is speaker. We're gonna place a picture, we add some additional data and some actions and the switcher in the bottom. So let's start to create that. I'm going to create another iPhone 14. The background again is our darkest color. And let's type in HomePod Mini. The font is Space Grotesque. And the size is 32 semi-bold. The color is white. Let's place it in the middle. Duplicate it, and device type is a speaker. And the size of this one is 18. The line height is 24. And the color is gray. And the font weight can be medium. And let's place it 8 pixels from the device name. And we need the device picture. So let's grab that. I'm going to put it somewhere here. It's in the middle, okay, so that's good. And what I want to create to make this whole screen a bit more interesting is I want to add some kind of waves, sound waves. So I found this really cool graphic on FreePic that I'm going to use. So I'm just copying it, placing it here. And what I want to do with this, because it's obviously too much, so I want to create a mask with an ellipse. This is going to be our mask. And I'm going to mask this whole thing. So this is the ellipse that we created, and this is the mask. We are going to select both of them and just hit this masking icon. And I want to place it in the middle. And selecting the ellipse again, I want to add the layer effect. That is going to be layer blur. And let's see, I want it quite high, maybe even 80. Okay. And put it behind. Just going to adjust it a little bit to my taste. And because of these audio waves or whatever it is, they are actually individual pass layers. What I can do here is select this whole group, and for the stroke I can actually create a linear gradient that is going to be our pink and cyan color. And because of these individual layers, it will create a very cool effect, as you can see. Which looks pretty dope, I think. I'm just going to place it a bit lower. Okay. So now we can create this little widget here that is displaying additional informations. So let's draw a rectangle. and set to this dark color. Maybe the lighter one is better for us. And what I want to do is detach it. The opacity is 80%, and I'm going to add an effect again, which is background blur, and the size is 24, maybe even lowering the opacity to 50, and the corner radius is 16, because I like how it creates this effect. You can totally change this opacity, maybe even lower if you want. And what I want to do is create another rectangle and place some information like current volume, the font size is 12 pixels, the line height is 20, and let's say it's 45, oops, let's say it's 45 decibels, dB. And the size of this one is 28. And let's see if I can put this dB on the top, because I don't want it on the bottom. I think Figma has this kind of options. No, so I'm just going to separate them and create another one with a smaller font size, maybe 14. And I'm going to group these and put everything, selecting the rectangle, selecting decibel and the current volume. I just want to add them to auto layout and place it in the middle. And the padding on the left and right doesn't matter. The top and bottom can be maybe 16. And the color of the font is white, and the background is this dark. And we are going to add the rounded corner, 16 or 12. 12 is looking good for me. And the color of this one actually is this gray color. And I'm going to duplicate it. And let's say upcoming tasks. And that is, let's say it's 5. We don't need this one. And what I want to do to place them proportionally, so we don't need to do some math here, I'm going to select both of these and put it in an auto layout, set a background for it, which is our lighter dark. I'm going to delete this one and set the padding 24 to 24. Place it in the middle, and for this one, I want them to fill the container. And the background radius is 16, and detaching this color and adding the background blur, which is 24. Okay, make sure it's in the middle. Okay, that looks good. I want to add the same little effects like we used on the home page. So I'm just going to copy these two shapes and place it here. Make sure I'm going to put it to the back. You can just right click it and bring to front, or bring to back, send to back. And in this area, in the bottom area, I want to add some action. Let's say this is like an alarm clock that we can just turn on and off. So again, create another rectangle. This one is 24 from the right and 24 from the left. The corner radius is 16, and the fill color is our dark color. Let's create another rectangle, but I'm just going to duplicate this one and set it to the lighter color. And the padding is 16 on all sides. It's 18 here, so I'm going to increase it a bit. And let's say this is alarm. The size is 20 pixels. And to here I'm going to put the location, which is living room wall. And the size for this is 14 and gray. The font weight is regular. And from the bottom is 16 pixels. From each other can be 4. And from the left is again 16 pixels. I'm just going to modify the size of this so it's 16 on each side. And we need a switcher, which we have here. So we can copy and paste and rotate it. And placing it 16 pixels from the right, and it's on the middle, 26, 26, that's perfect. We can say here that this is included in the morning routine. Included in routine. And the alarm is set for 8:30. The size is 32. The font weight is bold. The line height is 40. place it in the middle. And this one, the color is gray and the size is 12. And let's see if it works with uppercase. Okay, it looks good to me. And as usual, I'm going to create a background blur because I really like that. (24) and make this one a little bit darker. And maybe this one as well. Okay, that looks much better. And for these shapes, I just want to lower them a bit because it's a bit too much. And actually what I forget is add some effects on this panel that I'm going to do very quickly. And it's going to be an inner shadow, a white one, the blur is 2, let's say this is 0, okay, and add another one, another inner shadow. That is again going to be white, but now everything's set to 0 except 1. This one is just going to be 1, and the opacity (10%). So this is just adding a little effect to this one, and maybe this additional data I'm going to use another dark color. So it's a bit darker. Okay, so now we have this ready as well. We can move on to the last screen. That is going to be this knob that you can drag and turn and set the temperature of in the rooms. And this one is going to be a bit more difficult to design. But let's dive in and let's do it. Again, creating an artboard, iPhone 14. The background is our dark color. And I want to put the location here, that is living room. The font size is 24. The line height is 32. And let's say 3 active devices. We have 3 active devices in the living room. But the font size is 16 and regular. And the color is our gray. And I'm going to put a little plus icon here that you can add the new device for the living room, for example. And that is just a little button with an icon, with a plus icon. So it's an ellipse with 40 pixels. The color is white and the opacity is 10. And I am just simply typing in a plus character. And the size is 40. Say it's 40 pixels. Okay, that looks good to me. Now let's start creating the knob. So what you want to display here is the current temperature. I'm just going to copy this Celsius from there, and the size is 64 and semi-bold. Maybe medium is enough. The line height can be 80. Okay. So to draw this knob, I'm going to use lots of shapes, mostly ellipses. Let's set the first one in the middle. But I want to grab these background layers, so just put them here, send it to the back. And let's start creating this. So first I want to create some kind of effects, some blurred effects with this tool. And I'm going to set the color to pink. Actually detach it and set like a gradient for this. And one way of the gradient is blue, because we are coming from the cold air side. And this one is going to be the pink. So as we go higher, it gets warmer. And this one I want to decrease a little bit because it's too much. And for the whole layer, I want to add an effect, and that is layer blur. And let's see, it's 40. Okay, that's good for now, but probably we are going to change this a lot, and we are going back and forth to create this knob. Let's create another ellipse. Say this is the background ellipse, this is the foreground ellipse, and I want to create another one. Let's duplicate this and bring it to the front. And for this one, I'm going to create this shape. Let's make sure this is in the middle. And we are going to use this as a mask. And basically, I want to add these shapes inside this one. So this is the mask. So we have this here. we are creating another ellipse. Set this one to the pink color. Add the layer blur effect. Say 40 or even higher. And selecting this shape and the ellipse that we just draw, select both of them and just mask it. And I want to duplicate this, drag it to the right and add the different color, which is our cyan. And actually for this background shape, let's try it if we can set a layer blur effect. Okay, we can do that. Let's set this to 32. Okay, this looks good so far. So far, so good. And I'm going to duplicate this one again and bring it to the front. And create a thinner version. Of this. And for this one again, I'm going to detach the color and going to set a linear gradient. And here, okay, let's just flip this so you guys can see what's happening. For this one, I'm going to set the pink, but 0 opacity. For this one, again the pink, but I'm going to create two additional ones here. And the left side is cyan, but this one is 0 opacity, this one is 100. Again, this one is the pink, and it can be 100, and the opacity on this one is 0. Okay. I know it looks very weird now, but we are getting there, I promise. Okay, let's select this base layer again and duplicate it, bring it to the front. And I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. And detaching the color, set it to 80 or 50. And adding the effect again, which is background blur, 24. And for this one, actually, the base layer, we're going to add some multiply drop shadows. So the first one can be quite big, like 32 blur and 70%, maybe 80%. And the y-axis can be 12, maybe even higher. Add another one, a drop shadow. And the blur on this one is 12. This is 8. and this is 40. Add another one again, and that can be 100%, 8 blur, and 4. Okay, that looks good. And this one here is a bit too much, so I'm going to lower the opacity to 40, 60. We'll see what works. And for this one, I want to add a little indicator, and how I'm going to do that is creating a polygon, setting it to 24, and let's say we want to put it somewhere here. So I'm going to select the polygon and this ellipse, and I'm going to unite them. That is unfortunately disabling our background blur effect, so we need to add that again. So dark color, detaching, 50%. The effect is background blur, 24. And let's see if I set the corner radius, because I want to round these corners a little bit. It's too sharp for me now. So let's see what works. 8 is too much. The 4 is kind of looks okay. Okay, let's go with the 4, or let's try with 2. Yeah, 2 is better. Okay. And with this layer, with the little indicator, I'm going to add, just to try something out here, which is an inner shadow, white, and the blur is 2, and the y-axis is just 1, and set this to 10, and add another one, inner shadow, white again, but this time no blur, just 1 on the y-axis, or okay, let's go with 0.5. Okay. And again, I'm going to modify the color a bit on the union shape, because I selected the ellipse inside it, but I want to modify the color on the whole united shapes and just make it a bit darker. Okay. And now I'm going to grab the base layer, duplicate it, put it on the front, and shrink it down, remove these effects, and make it to 10%, maybe a bit more, 30%. This mask group effect behind it, it's a bit too small, so I'm just going to increase it a bit. Okay, and we can put this in the middle, but we don't need the Celsius that big, so I'm going to change that to 24. Grouping all of this together and bring it to the front so it's visible. And the color is gray, the number color is white. Okay, this looks pretty good. Maybe just one more. Little adjustment here. I want to duplicate this and put it behind the big knob, the indicator knob. So let's see if I'm duplicating this and shrinking it down and putting behind, if this makes the effect what I want. Okay, it sort of works. So that's good. And what I also want to add here is little indicator bars, like you can see more or less where we are. And to create that, I am duplicating this and pasting outside of the frame, removing all the layer effects, and just going to create these bars. Make sure you have it centered. It's 4 pixels from the ellipse. I'm copying it down 4 pixels there as well, and select both of them, duplicate it and rotate it. And we need to do this a couple of times. Okay. Now in the 45 angle. Selecting them again and rotate it. Rotate again. And just a couple more times. I know it's a bit boring, but this is how I do it. Maybe there is a better approach. If you guys know better approach, please let me know in the comments. Okay. Oops, one is missing. Just right here. Going to select everything and deselect the ellipse, just selecting these little bars, and duplicate them again. And one more time. Okay, this looks good to me. Actually, we don't need the majority of them. And I'm just going to delete until here. Going to group this and place it here, and I'm just going to make it a bit bigger, and the color is white but the opacity is maybe 10% is perfectly enough. Okay, this actually looks good to me. Maybe the base layer, I'm going to set some gradient. Let's just see if it works. Set this to 100% and this one, yeah, it's a bit more darker. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so now we have our little knob. Now we can put this outside and inside temperatures and put an other actionable little layer here, which is actually not the alarm, it's going to be the air condition of the room that we can just turn on and off. I just select everything here and group it, rename it to knob. Okay. So the last two panels is the outside and inside temperature and an actionable layer. This one with the dark background. The round corner is 16. And let's say this is the outside temperature. 16 pixels, 24 line height, and the color is dark, this light gray. And the temperature is 36 outside. The font size is 32, white. This can be 40, the line height. And I need the Celsius again. So I'm just going to copy it from here. And this one can be much smaller. Yeah, like 20. And maybe regular. We don't need it that big. Let's just group them together. Let's place it 4 pixels from the temperature and auto layout again. Let's say 48 pixels from left and right and 12 from top and bottom. The color is dark color. Rounded corners are 16. And background blur effect again. But to do that, we just need to detach. Okay, place it 24 pixels from here. And the inside temperature is 24. Okay, and the last bit is going to be this little widget that we can copy from the previous screen. We don't need to design that again. Just going to resize it a bit. And let's say this is an LG aircon. And it's on the living room wall because we are in the living room. And one thing I forgot is the locations, that you can switch locations here. We are in the living room now. And we already have this widget as well, so we are going to cheat a bit here and going to place it here. Make sure this is 24 pixels, and we are in the living room, so I want to highlight that, maybe with bold. No, this is actually a bit too much, so I'm going to change it, and it's going to be just this white color. So that's it, guys. I hope you learned some things from this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more user interface tutorials. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment, and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. And thank you for watching. See you in the next episode. Bye bye.